You were talking about how Indian classical music connected you with your mother.
I was not a very good daughter. I kind of escaped home and did my music, and it was not that easy for her to understand. She was a painter and I was a musician. And I think that Hindustani classical music is the music that resembles the most to her painting, because what she did at that time, it was abstract and color oriented, and mood and color oriented, which is exactly what Hindustani classical music is. And once I started to explain to her what I was studying, we found a link, and it was like a new connection we built, because she understood why I wanted to study this music, and I understood the deepness of her painting. And so I find this very beautiful. A new mother and daughter connection, because I was not a very good daughter when I was in my teens. I was like, okay, now I want to do my own thing. I don't want, I kind of escaped home and did my music, and it was not that easy for her to understand why I was not studying and being more serious. I studied law and I left everything behind me. It's about my mom. First, she didn't understand why I was escaping and going to India, to study Hindustani classics. She didn't really understand why I was doing that. And she decided, she visits me one day, and she came to Bombay, and she told me, now I understand, because you seem so happy there. There's something happening because I was a little, that depressing type. And so I started to explain Hindustani classical music to her, because she had no idea what it was. And she said, oh, that's very interesting. And could you describe me some ragas, what it is? And I told her about Bhairav, Yaman, and the timings, and the colors and the nature. And so we made that experiment. She said, okay, make me listen to some ragas and you tell me about it a little bit. And I try to picture it in painting. And we did that project in 2002 or 3. And she did 10 to 12, 15 paintings. Many were Yaman, because, she liked that serenity type. Of course, my mom, she died. And there is this experiment we did together many years ago. I would like to read you it with maybe Sophie or other painters and maybe other musicians.
Tell us the difference between the Indian notes and the Western notes. How do you differentiate, and how do you teach your students the difference between the Indian style of classical music and the Western style of classical music?
As you said, Ati, before, everything in the West is very specific, no? And I'm using an image to make people understand that in the Western world, we say A is a frequency of 40, and that's it, that is A. But an Indian note is more than that. It is the note itself, but it's also all what is around the note. For example, I'm taking this example because it's a visual. You have two persons, next to each other, but the person is a physical person, and you have this aura around you. And when you have somebody, staying next to you, your aura and his aura or her aura, they are mixing maybe. So you have almost A and almost A sharp, and something in between. And what is a little bit upper A or a little bit under A is already the note. So it's the way to approach the note, you can approach it from downwards or upwards, and it's already there, but you can have different color of the same note. It can be komal, it can be ati komal. It can be sharp, like tivra, and it could be ati tivra, even more. It's it's less specific. It's not fixed on a fixed frequency.